Hello and welcome to the SelecTrader trade tutorial series. In this first lesson, we're going to take a look at our primary trend trade. First, we'll look at an example of a completed trade, and then we'll walk through a trade step by step so we can see what it looks like as it's setting up. And we'll do this for a long and short trade. First, let's take a look at a long example. Our main trend trade will always appear with either a turn bar followed by a turn bar, or a turn bar followed by a color bar followed by another turn bar. If this is the case, essentially we'll need to see everything line up green. We have our green background here, our green ribbon, and our green super trend, which is also outside of the neutral zone. And we can see that both of these trades qualify on our first color bar. Now, ideally, we would like to enter these on the turn bar, which we can see an example of back here. Now, if we have more than one color bar in between our turn bars, this will still be a trend trade, but we need to see a little bit more qualification since there has been a bit longer of a reversal in between us hopping back in with the trend. So if we have multiple color bars in between our turn bars, we need to see our 50 EMA above our 200 EMA for a long trend, as in our example here. And again, all the other rules are the same. We need to see our green background, green ribbon, and super trend outside of the neutral zone, which it isn't in this case. But we just have the extra qualifier of our 50 being above our 200 EMA, adding strength to this trade. Now that we've seen a few completed examples of our trend trade, let's take a look at one as it develops so we can get a feel for identifying them and anticipating them ahead of time. All right, now let's take a look at a long trade. As it develops, we have a pretty nice long trend established here. Pretty solid green background with only a few small gray sections in there. Our green ribbon and our super trend is very strong. So we want to be looking for a turn bar, and that'll clue us in when we have our first opportunity. So we have our downward turn bar here. Now, if we get a green background on the next bar, we can enter at 6272.75, or we can enter on the following bar, the first color bar. So now we have our turn bar, but again, our ribbon is still red and our background is still gray. So we'll likely be entering this one on the first color bar at the price of our green DPI, which is 6273.75. We see that we do get our green background, so we can go ahead and put it in our order for our trend trade, and we see this one goes quite a ways. Next, let's take a look at a couple short examples. Now, our rules for the short trend are essentially the same, but this time we're going to be looking for everything to line up red. So again, we need to see either our turn bar, color bar, turn bar, or our turn bar followed by a turn bar, the red background, red ribbon, and red super trend outside of the neutral zone. And again, if we have more than one color bar in between our turn bars, we need to see our 50 below our 200, which adds strength to this qualification. The reason we do that is that once the market moves in the opposite direction of the trend, we just like a little extra confirmation that we're likely going to reverse again and continue moving in the short direction. Now let's take a look at an example of a short trend as it develops. So here we see a trend that was not fully qualified, as we have more than one color bar in between our turn bars, and our 200 is below our 50 EMA, and we need to see it the other way around. We did pass through that, so we can be looking out for another trend trade. As we see the market continuing to move short, we see our first turn bar, and this lets us know that if the red DPI is hit, that will plot another turn bar. We could also see a color bar in between here, in which case we would anticipate a turn bar after that. Here we do see our color bar, followed by another turn bar, but notice our ribbon is still green, and we still need our red colored background. So we'll likely be looking to enter on the next bar should the red DPI be hit, which it is, and our trade is fully qualified. Feel free to go back and study this video at your leisure. And now that we have learned how to identify our primary trend trade, in the next video, we'll take a look at another variation of the trend trade.